for one another. And it's all about bringing success to your team, utilizing your own unique strengths.
What about 2022? Without Juhan? No
Damn right.
No Worlds win.
Think about HLE is another example. 2021, Morgan subbing in. Do you think Dudu was upset about that? Probably. But it was definitely a great move, and you have to think about the team needing to win together. Okay, let's have a look at this draft and see how it is going to go. Already the Xin Zhao and the Azir are going to be big bans. This is something that T1 has relied on. A lot of teams, honestly, have relied on. Owner Xin has been ridiculous.
He's been the best at it by far.
Oh, yeah.
By a very large margin. We've had a lot of great junglers. Right now, Lucid, Peanut, Canyon, Owner, all kind of contesting. I don't think we've had a clear standout yet. But when it comes to Xin Zhao, I do think Owner is truly unmatched, particularly with the style that T1 plays and his ability to know when to go back in. Something that Xin Zhao, in particular with his power in longer fights and the sustain, is craziest.
Can we say flex pick? Yeah, can we say it?
Sure. Yeah, most likely, obviously, he's going to go to Zeka, but there is a possibility for some flexing going on here. I'm wondering if this raises the priority of Nidalee specifically, because that is a pairing that we've seen a lot of.
Yeah.
We do know HANWHA Life quite likes it. The Rumble also open, the Jace open, the Ambessa open, and one of those is definitely going to get picked up by Doran here. Looks like it's going to be the Rumble, also because denying the combination of Rumble and Yone, I think, is a really big deal, because that is a nightmare to teamfight against. Itemization becomes quite hard towards top as well.
Also opens up flexibility in the jungle at the same time, giving you that definitely more even damage profile as Owner, taking a bit of a risk here. We've seen the Nefiri up and down was nerfed a little bit on this patch as well. Isn't quite the same top doggo that we were seeing in the last week of play, but it still will be locked in and does give Owner a lot of power in this draft.
What the interesting thing for me is with Nefiri is that as it got nerfed, our players still looked better because both them and the team got more proficient at playing with this champion. Yeah. Because I think Nefiri is actually crazy strong, and it does fulfill, not in terms of the setup that it has, but in terms of the backline threat that it provides. Kind of similar vibe to Lee, right? To something like the Xin Zhao champions that can really go in heavily on these brawls and influence team fights by a pretty crazy degree. As
I always think that it's a new champion when she gets hovered. I don't know whether this is actually going to be a thing that happens, but Zeka with a blind LeBlanc option would be odd, to say the least.
I think they're just going to counterpick for top. The only downside of this is that we are looking at a very AD heavy draft. No AP thus far.
Does mean that T1 have to ban Ziggs Kai'Sa. Yeah, and so HLE probably able to sort of knock that off. They have an understanding of what they're then able to pick. And Viper has an extensive champion pool when it comes to the crazy stuff. And so I'm expecting Teemo. It's going to be Teemo. It's Teemo 100%.
Yeah. I knew you were going to go there.
Yeah, it has to be the case.
What's the last time we played it again? Just so people know how realistic. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Something like that.
Interesting.
That doesn't help my you're supposed to be here supporting me, Chronicle. I'm trying to dole out
your case at all.
I'm doling out the misinformation.
How did you not know that before you answered it? Obviously, I was setting you up to fail.
Oh, no. Damn it, it's like I keep forgetting the obvious. It's okay. The Kai'Sa are going to be banned away as we expected. Next one should be the Ziggs. And now, what are HLE going to be removing? As it's both bottom lanes have been ignored so far. And in fact, T1 have just picked their own champions. Theoretically, HLE could have picked their own champions as well, but we expect a little bit of a mid-top swap. And the Poppy is going to be the response ban out of HLE.
Also telling that the respect that the T1 bot lane has for HANWHA Life, because they obviously could have just picked Kai'Sa on 4 here, right? Opting to ban it instead. With this setup so far, I wonder if they're looking towards the Ezreal, because Ezreal kind of slots into any composition, right? Kai'Sa would have actually been good here, but I think Kai'Sa can struggle more with lane matchups, as it's a respect ban to the Lights Alisher. And this is a clear sign that I think both are gonna... I actually think they're gonna save counterpick for Keria here. But they just think the Lights Alistair is so cracked. It could also be R4L, as you're saying, but I could see either. As we have the final ban here, we'll see if they then in response, but no, they seemingly agree. I think Ezreal here is really hard to punish as well.
Yep.
So is it maybe MF? The setup isn't great for MF. There's a lot of damage available between the Equalizer. MF is obviously quite lane dominant, but not the best setup thus far. But if you go Rel on 5, I think you're kind of feeling good about it.
Yeah, I think that they do want to lock in an AD carry. I think saving support counterpick is a huge one, because otherwise it gives HLE the ability to take something that's a little bit more maybe scaling and put a range support alongside it. I just think the Viper's going to play Kog'Maw. I don't know why. I just feel it in my bones. I feel like, yeah, some like mega nerfed Lulu over the last 7 patches and Kog'Maw, but it's not going to happen. Looks like Viper is going to head down the Misfortune route into this Corki. Still taking some time thinking about it. And it will be locked in. Makes me a little bit sad because I kind of wanted them to cook a little bit, but it will be just MFRL. Very standard composition that has been put together by HLE, and it's a good one.
Yeah, it is full AD, but there are matchups where, you know, if they still have top lane and they are 5 Malphite, obviously going to be feeling bad, but that's not going to happen unless Keria just pulls out the Rumble support. Not going to be the case, as expected. We will see what he actually ends up locking in, but as T1 actually picking their whole draft in order, which is all cute. This is the one team that I trust, because I think the Pantheon support has really looked very lackluster to execute on this, is specifically T1. We've seen, even in their matchups against teams that are insanely strong, they're able to...
All of their favorite things is what they've decided to take to the Rift here today. An understandable decision. And T1, they've got the Ahri for Faker. Absolutely huge one here. Owner on the Neferi. We know that Owner has been in incredible form, but I don't know whether it necessarily is a composition that can stand up to what HLE have put together here as we jump onto the Rift for game 1. Oh, Lowpark is exploding today. There are so many people. Fan chants looking pretty even as well. As we could see, there was some biffo that happened.
You know what that Neferi skin reminds me of?
What?
One of my favorite games ever.
Akami, right?
I
said this just the other day.
Oh my god.
I 100% agree with you. It's so cool because that
was coming.
Yeah, cannot wait. And they need to remake the other one as well, because I know the Wii version came out after the PS2 version, which is the one that I played, and I loved it. But it was still a bit grainy, you know, because the resolution wasn't all that high, so it didn't feel great.
Switch version is great.
Is there a Switch version of Akami?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's where I played it.
Because I was told, actually, that there's a Steam version as well, but I prefer to play it on the go.
Oh, you can.
Oh my god.
Hey, you're welcome to.
Oh. Can I borrow it from you, utilizing the new borrowing method thingy?
Let's you can, yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, Carrier is going to get engaged on here, but is able to avoid Delight, as already we are jostling for position here on the bottom side. Man, I'm so excited about Akami, but I need to stay focused on the Saturday Showdown.
That's us, Atlas. We're always focused. Sometimes in roundabout ways, but that's okay. As we do
We're focused on something.
Yeah, fighting for early position. The Corki has not been living a great life so far.
That's continuing to happen here, as Carrier also down to sub 200 health. And Smash's cleanse is already on cooldown. Delight does have his Ignite now not available, so T1 a little bit more aggressive option.
Yeah, pot's ticking. Cookie still there for Carrier. Do take a note of that. Cookies right now, especially if you're low on health, are completely crazy. Really strong in these early all-ins. And the Corki, to me, is really, we couldn't pick Ezreal. In this case, Ezreal was banned.
Yep.
Because it feels like he doesn't quite have the same impact. I think he's a little bit stronger in lane, and I do think he pairs nicely with the Pantheon in that regard. But you're obviously still playing into a map. So Viper looking good on the early trades here, and Carry and Smash, even for all of their heavy contesting, doesn't look like they are going to maintain control of this lane.
Nope.
Jungler pathing towards the other end as well, as Owner is on the top side of the map. I don't really think there's an angle for Peanut here just yet, unless they get more poked down, but still big win early on here for Viper and Delight.
Yep, going to be able to get this wave shoved on forward. You can see Smash and Carrier were thinking about going for a cheater recall, but realizing that they don't have enough time to get back, so they will be waiting for this lane as Zeka and Faker fighting. But Faker actually doing pretty well here, as Carrier going to get interrupted before he goes back home. That is going to spell a little bit of trouble here for the T1 bottom lane. Man, this Rel is being very, very annoying. As Owner's coming up towards the top side of the map to see whether he can punish his former top laner. Let's see whether it's going to work out here as Doran looking for some harpoons. He just flashes on him. There's the boot back, and ZEUS knows that he is 100% dead. First blood going over to Owner is exactly what T1 want with this composition.
Very straightforward. gank here. This shouldn't be a surprising timing. I wonder
nice
if...
that's a nice knock-up as well. Faker is really dead, guys. Permafrost is a thing, and Zeka also just going to come on over. Peanut presses no buttons, but just supports his mid lane.
Actually, cute little timing there from Delight. Usually what happens is after you get the crash, you then base and then walk towards mid, but a little bit early on the timing there, which I think is what caught Faker off guard. And here, Owner does a really good job of dodging the ward there that was put down in Tri-Brush, so does catch ZEUS off guard. But again, I assume they didn't have any early tracking because this is very standard game timing, right? It's just full clear, get crab. And ZEUS didn't quite get the crash either, so I think his lane state wasn't the best. The one upside is that he just rotates the bot. And because of the immediate kill also found by HANWHA Life, thanks to Peanut and Delight, Gold dead even for now.
Yep. ZEUS also has flash advantage. Even though he did fall down, he's probably still feeling okay as far as the lane phase is concerned. Faker and Zeka continuing to do a bit of battle here, but that's a very nice charm. As Zeka going to get a cute little knock-up, but otherwise Faker is just fine. So Dragon going to spawn, like you were saying, based on the very even nature of just getting a pick on either side. It is T1 with a slight lead. That is just first blood.
The game going to be, particularly for T1, the big thing here to me, how much value can they actually get as we take a look.
Wait, one of them has to win.
Between the Corki and the
Rel, yeah.
Well, I do think the Rel, if you look at the teams that have played it, I do think the sample size is a little worse, yeah, compared to the Corki. But yeah, we're going to break a losing streak here in this first game.
Oh, that feels good. That's a bit of an upside, isn't it?
That's nice.
It's very nice.
On the flip side, we're also continuing a losing streak.
Yeah, but I mean, it's already a losing streak, right? So it's fine.
So
what's the difference between 7 and 8?
So what you're saying is sustaining the losing is offset by how good it feels to break the streak?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
That's what I did. I think the upsides outweigh the downs. Okay, speaking of downs, Faker is taking a bit of damage here, but Peanut not able to find too much. Doesn't have level 6. His carrier is making his way in. Immediate flash out from this Sejuani, and Peanut's in so much trouble. Doran's going to cook him. That equalizer, so incredibly proactive and gorgeously well played.
Nicely done there. Carry up, making his impact known on the map. Sets it up there. The attempted play towards Faker not working out. Faker didn't even need to flash.
Yeah.
So Peanut thought he could just do a little drive-by gank. Maybe you get Faker, maybe you don't, but you shouldn't have to pay for it. Instead, actually ends up paying pretty handily. What I do have to note, though, is that with that roam, ZEUS was able to get a play towards the bot side, which means that even with the assist, Gold stays relatively close as Delight going in. Kara does have flash, might have to use it here.
Yeah, Peanut is just running forward. Zeka just joins in.
TP'd and ulted.
For some reason.
Well, I think he thought that they were going to get Carrier, but he was definitely, there was like a good 2 seconds after Carrier was already out.
Yep. Still, I mean, his flash is down, so...
Well, it's not the end of the world, but it's not great.
No. It was an odd maneuver. Some synchronized backs coming on in here. Please just cancel it so that you can pick up the flower. Yes, very nicely done there, Delight. Thank you very much. Zeka coming on over, Faker ignoring him, and it should be okay. Zeka is decently far ahead as far as farm is concerned, has about a 300 gold lead, as we can see there. And so the Yone is still going to be doing some good things. However, that last play was just weird.
We just didn't quite see the line.
No.
He did.
But the thing is, we're not world champions, so he sees lines that perhaps others don't. And so do we have a right to judge? Or
he just made a mistake.
Yeah, but we don't know that, because we can't see the lines. The lines, Chronicler. It's the lines.
Can never say with certainty.
Exactly. I didn't see the line for the Diana top. And that's why I didn't judge Kingen either, because he's also a world champion, okay?
Yeah, and there was no line, as we found out.
Well, I mean, did you talk to Kingen about it? I haven't heard from him what the line was.
Well, I'm a guy that loves to see lines everywhere, even when they might not necessarily be there.
I think the line that we had was, it wasn't very good. That was the line. As ZEUS is going to walk down the line himself, and immediately he's harpooned, realizing that he's going to have to try and turn this one. Owner coming down, and Doran is just going to leave it for him. Let's see whether ZEUS can get any magic done. And he's trying to avoid some of the daggers here. Does do so. Goes to the skies and then dies. That is going to be another kill going over to Owner. This Nefiri, we know how well the doggo can scale, or at least snowball. And that is, once again, working out very, very well. Zeka not quite finding that Q. Just trying to get some trade damage onto Faker and does utilize the Unbound Soul quite well that time around.
Bit of a jungle diff so far.
Yeah.
Owner actually be able to have a huge impact. And if there is one team that knows the tendencies of this laner, well, it's obviously T1, as the almost solo Bolo ends up getting the flash out of ZEUS, but ZEUS otherwise would have been fine, right? Would have been able to disengage, maybe even bait in when Peanut also in the area, but there's no outplaying a point and click, unfortunately, for ZEUS, as Peanut should be able to get this. Was a little close, but not actually going to be in any danger. But T1, again, as they should, building a lead.
Oh dear, Smash gonna get bullet time. Does Valkyrie his way out. Carrier taking a lot of damage here, but so is Delight. Now that Aftershock is away, the flash forward and Viper just silences him. Smash able to offer a fair bit back, had some cooldowns, and Owner was making his way in. There's the flash forward, the 2-0 Neferi avoids the CC and takes down the MF. Delight will survive, and now Peanut here on the bottom side, looking to try and dish back some punishment of his own. They do manage to take down the Rumble. Peanut will survive, and they'll get more plates.
Owner got Delight as well.
Wait, yeah, when did that? What the heck?
Yep, I thought that it was just going to be Viper, but man, he is running around like a wild dog on the Rift. 4 kills now as we take another look here. Big thing is HANWHA feel confident. Nice setup there on Smash. Is able to Valkyrie out. And then here, obviously with the Pantheon, you're going to feel pretty confident, but the Light's able to flash out. Viper just gets to you with his PTA. Love tap him down, but then Smash still doing damage on the side, and then Owner just gets in, uses the W there to ensure that he's untargetable, and then I think it's just the dogs and the bleed.
Yeah, it's just the bleed.
Actually gets, but very important, because once we get back in the game, you see gold still even. At the same time, Peanut makes this play towards the bot side happen. This one means a ton more plates, because Smash can't actually stick around for quite as long. And, crucially, no counter kill, which is why gold lead remains steady, Atlas.
Yep, basically dead even. Still T1 extending it a little bit, but HLE getting themselves a dragon is likely to even that out. As Owner moving down towards his bottom side, ZEUS and Delight down here. 2v3 at the moment. And T1 thinking about this dive. Carrier starting it off as Delight able to tank up decently well. Looks for the crash down onto the Neferi. And now Viper makes his way over. T1 take that as a sign to disengage, and I think it's understandably so, as Peanut once again getting bothered by Doran a little bit as he takes down another objective. But this time it's just going to be an evening out of the grubs. 2 objectives now done for HLE. No first turret blood, but that bottom lane outer turret for HLE. Sitting at 2 plates remaining. And so T1 wanting to defend that if they do want to go for these feats of strength.
And we do need to see T1 actually get, either through Drakes or through turrets, start to break this game, right? Like, they still have a good amount of time, I think, for the next 10-15 minutes. I still expect their composition to be very straightforward, very strong. Theoretically, I think there are parts of this comp that scale well if you can maintain vision control, right? You have incredible burst, great resets, good backline access. But if we get to the 5v5 and the state of the game is as it is right now, you might be in trouble.
The immediate interruption. There's the Magnet Storm as well onto Carrier. Viper in a bit of trouble, though, as T1 and HLE just trading a bunch of spells on the bottom side. Peanut looks for Doran, though, once again. And with ZEUS here, it is more punishment for the Rumble. And this time, Owner unable to find anything on the other side of the map.
That is now Peanut desperately trying to keep up and succeeding with the map impact. Owner this time doesn't actually get nicely done there by Delight, right? He's the one standing guard, ensuring that Carrier with his ultimate doesn't actually get a ton of value. Still a good amount of plates that are going to go over, but same for ZEUS. And again, if the gold stays even, I like HANWHA's comp a lot. I think that it just plays itself out so cleanly. You have so many different damage threats, so it's hard to actually shut down, right? Because T1 is really good at finding a single target, blowing them up. But there's Jace, there is Yone, and there is MF, and all of them can carry a team fight. Obviously, itemization is going to be a little easier for T1, expecting that eventually they'll start stacking some armor. But as we highlighted, there isn't a tank. If there was even something like a Scion, eventually it would become a really big problem. But T1 is, as they often do, all squishies.
Yeah, this is not really a team that's going to be able to utilize the fact that there is a lot of physical damage on the side of HLE, and, you know, Yone does a fair bit of mixed damage. Viper's Make It Rain is magic damage as well, Chronicle. I mean, it's basically 50-50, let's be honest.
It's the BT into Leandries, of course.
Yeah. And that's the normal build.
That's the line?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's not quite Luden's Leandries, which is my personal favorite. Blackfire Torch as well. You just really go all in into the burn from the Maker Brain. That is actually the support MF build.
I know.
You know, so he's not.
Yeah, I know you're a connoisseur of this, of the support MF specifically.
Yeah, I mean, my wife actually plays mainly support MF.
Oh, I know. That's why.
Yeah. I'm not a connoisseur of it. She's definitely the.
You're a Garen connoisseur. You can't be connoisseur of multiple things.
Definitely
Don't
not.
shut.
No. Having multiple likes in the world, certainly not a thing.
No can do.
As there are some malignants here done for Faker. Does have that first item completed. Has evened things out with Zeka quite a lot as well, especially as far as farm is concerned. We haven't really seen too much more as far as Biffo in the mid lane. As far as these two players.
This Drake is a really big deal. I think T1 need to heavily prioritize getting this, because if they don't, it might create a situation where they're going to be forced to take fights that they really don't want to, as in they go.
Oh dear. Carrier does put up the shield, but I don't know about it. Does taxi his way over to Delight, but Viper is going to close the distance, and that is Peanut locking down the kill. That should spell the second dragon of the game for HLE, and that is only going to continue this snowball rolling. And despite the fact that there's a 4-0 Neferi, just doesn't feel like Ona's able to do enough. And even if they kill ZEUS, is this even good enough to try and even things out? As Equalizer comes down as well, ZEUS seeing what he can get done here. Actually boops Ona away and then uses him to taxi to the turret. That was gorgeous.
Very nice. It doesn't even flash. And now the Drake gets taken. The crux of it is this. If T1 is the one engaging, this comp looks amazing. But if you are, say, a Pantheon and Peanut finds you, you're just not getting out. There's no way. Oh my god. Forces the flash!
Yeah, Doran's gonna have to flash, and that is once again ZEUS with a flash advantage after getting ganked. And this time he doesn't die. So you'd say certainly a positive. Yeah, that is a really nice
That's
interrupt.
a great use of the BT shield. I love it. It's like, I can take that. I can take that hit. Doesn't matter. I am starting to believe, Atlas, that HANWHA Life might take this series a little bit more serious than they...
It's looking a little like that.
I feel like it's not quite the same HANWHA Life we saw in some of their other matches. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, no,
in this first one so far.
I'm seeing a bit of those vibes. Not necessarily in the top lane. I feel like ZEUS has just been overextending with Reckless Abandon, but the fact that they're actually playing for cross-map is the biggest difference.
We also say that, but then we look at the gold.
Yeah, 1.3k is a lot more money, isn't it?
It's a lot of gold.
ZEUS has a habit of doing that, doesn't he? We really cannot cannot get caught by that.
Which T1 also ref. And I do want to highlight T1.
Well, they're going to look for ZEUS once again. He knocks Doran away, does use the flash this time, as Carrier should have a stun back up. He tries to go for it, but Smash turns up. That's going to be a dead Jace once again.
And I wanted to highlight this. It is important to know that T1's side lane threat is still great with that Pantheon, and their picks and their ability to snowball off of a single pick very quickly is still going to be huge. There's also the patented T1 Baron, maybe augmented by a T1 Otacon, to try and make sure that HANWHA Life don't get to just continue scaling into this game.
And Peanut as well, you just saw there, this is why the Sejuanis are often banned if you're planning to play Neferi. Because we saw, like, there is a decent lead for Ona still. He's a 4-0 Neferi, and Peanut seems to not care at all. He's now walking up towards Smash here at the same time, who does have Cleanse, but he can't cleanse twice. But Permafrost comes in, Glacial Prison as well, and that is a dead Corky. But now the rest of the cavalry have arrived, and Bristle and Sedge are going to get removed. One for one, as in goes Ona. Delight trying to survive, and he will do so for now, as Zeka unbinds the soul, looks to find an angle, and there's a gorgeous ulti. Doran's gonna lie down as well, and Delight is still alive. Finally he falls, but it has to be in trade for Carrier's life. And now ZEUS, he's teleported back in. They want to get this shutdown as the Doggos block the shock blast, but I just don't think it's enough. There it is, and the shutdown goes to the Jace.
Layers upon layers there. First, it looks like Smash is just caught. Then it looks like it's a classic T1 wraparound debate coming into play.
Let's check out this onion of a team fight.
So, starts off with Smash getting caught by Peanut, who, as you say, does not care. Smash, unfortunately, gets hit by the Permafrost, which he cleanses, gets immediately hit by the point-blank ultimate. And then this is the point where you go, wait, hold up. Might be an angle to actually make a play here. The only issue is that when Owner goes in, the rest of the team not in a position to follow up. If they just take out the light there, would have been huge. If Faker and Doran don't both get caught there, Faker flashes that, maybe there's an angle with the resets, but instead it's the arrival of Zeka there that ends up being the big difference maker.
Yeah, this guy, we know he's pretty good at the Yone, but he's demonstrating exactly why he's so incredibly feared. And this looked like it was getting dicey, and then it was this ulti in the other direction is just so gorgeously done. Let's have a look at it in real time as Peanut's just going to miss an ult. Understandably so, and of course, Faker is pretty slippery on this Ahri.
Does get the flash though. Zeka also investing his. Still, they are able to bully Faker. Also really cute there, Delight. The thing that kept him alive for so long was he actually used his, you know, the little whip him over you auto.
Yeah.
As the dash from Owner came in.
Aha, very cute.
And right now, we're starting to finally see the gold lead, but not in the way that T1 with a pick-up like this was hoping for. Early game, not quite able to build the lead that they wanted, and now we're coming up on a soul point fight, a possible 5v5 where HANWHA Life are going to have item leads. 2 items here for Zeka. Viper might even be able to hit one as well, though with the timing, don't think he can quite get the back off. But ZEUS sitting on a Shojin and a transformed Muramana as well. Faker not the second item just yet, also not going for the build we've seen a lot of, so damage going to be feeling great, but not quite as beefy.
Yeah, it doesn't have the Rod of Ages that we've seen be so incredibly popular throughout this season thus far. As, yeah, Peanut just clearing out some blast cones, things like this. The control is massive. Great little knock up there from Zeka. Interrupts his own dash by utilizing the wall. Very, very cute. And now the first Cloud Dragon is going to be attempted. Rift Herald already thrown down here at the same time. HLE just trying to cause some distractions as Carrier dives into the backline. An immediate cleanse from Viper though, and Carrier is in so much trouble, but there's a huge fight elsewhere. ZEUS is getting cooked as Doran doing so much work. The rest of HLE are now stuck in the Thunderdome as Zeka trying to take matters into his own hands. Somehow Smash gets the Dragon. What the hell was that? But Zeka is a monster on the bottom side of the fight and then snaps back to destroy the rest of them. Viper grabbing so many kills. And with 2 of these carries left alive, Faker able to teleport his way out. But that is not going to win them the fight, as HLE, they don't walk away with the Dragon, but I think that was out of turret in mid lane, or at least a charge here onto the inner, and a whole lot more money.
It's what we talked about. There are 3 members on HANWHA Live that have enough damage to carry a team fight. Even though Carrier goes in, there isn't really any follow-up. He buys a good amount of time, the equalizer is nice, they're not actually able to get on top of Smash on the other end, but they stall long enough, and then this is where things look a little bit scary, but then the catch onto Doran, Faker not hitting the charm, meaning that Zeka can both dispatch of that Rumble, also keep Faker low. And while all this is going on, look at Viper!
Yep.
He's full health!
And now he has that Infinity Edge that we were talking about earlier on. This MF is getting scarier and scarier.
What is the one upside for T1 there is that they were able to get the Dragon, but it's just an individual Drake. It denies soul point, which is nice, but that isn't quite enough as T1 are really, what is it, Bloodletter's Curse, I want to say?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the item. I was actually looking for it. Does that stack? I don't think so. Normally items like that don't. I haven't actually done my research on that one in particular.
I'm fairly certain it doesn't. I'm wondering if you can stack it like for each other.
Oh yeah, perhaps. Maybe it stacks faster.
But
that's all right. Peanut is in a little bit of trouble. Charm does come down, but Faker is hit by a prison. And prison is generally relatively large. It sounds a little bit frightening. But Zeka now moving towards his top side. The Otacon is going to be a big one. It is ruinous. And so that is a bunch of extra stats, especially if you've got some of these dragons stacked up in HLE. They already have a couple sitting there. See who can actually get first move on that one. Oh, 2 minutes until the Baron as well.
They're gonna need to get a pick onto someone. I think Viper is a tough target. Teleport comes in, and now this is the worst case scenario for a comp like this. You are out of control of vision. You're gonna just have to face check. No one really likes doing that on T1, and I think they're making the right call.
Yeah.
Otacon And oh, they're going to go for the late contest. The objective is gone, but looking for the fight here. Faker on a flank.
Yeah, in goes Carrier. We'll see whether they can get some of these petals, but it looks like the answer is absolutely not. As ZEUS finds a gorgeous ulti. The layering of the bullet time there as well is just like poetry from HLE. And Ona is now running for the hills. Only him and Faker left alive, and Faker has his own problems here towards the top side. Delight gonna get engaged on, gets himself the shield from the crash down. And yes, Ona may be able to go untargetable, but that is only for a minuscule amount of time. Viper deals with the exit plan and then takes down the doggo. ZEUS underneath this turret as well is a little bit worrisome, and ZEUS wanting to take it down as there's the flash forward from Faker, looks for the angle and takes down ZEUS. Consolation.
Yeah, that was completely unnecessary from ZEUS.
Yeah.
Did not have to do that whatsoever. Nice little consolation prize, but it's just that. It's consolation. It's not going to be enough to bring them back in this game, as we're seeing someone has to be doing. It might even be Carrier, might be Barrel for all we know. It's doing unspeakable things with Pantheon support and scrims, because this pick keeps coming up and we just haven't seen it look good. As here, yeah, no excuse. There's no line here. They are just kind of disrespecting and dying for it. So Faker gets the kill onto ZEUS there. That is nice, but again, it's not going to matter. The game state is an absolute shambles. HANWHA Life have built an incredibly oppressive lead, and it's really hard to see T1 finding their way back in this one, as that trio, Viper, ZEUS, Zeka, all doing unreasonable amounts of damage. And if you go for one, the others will cook you.
Yep. And Zeka up here will be able to defend out of turret in top lane, still standing, as it's only one turret that T1 have been able to pick up as they're around the Baron pit. Always a worrisome time. Baron is only 30 seconds old at this point, but I just don't think the game state is going to allow anyone to go towards an early Baron. Peanut now just looking to clear out some vision in the area, though. Ona is going to be able to at least pop the frost armor. Is Peanut also able to steal some drugs?
That's where we're at, Atlas.
Oh, God.
He popped the frost armor.
He did. He popped the frost armor.
That's like when I'm saying, you know, it could be worse. That's never followed by anything good.
Yeah, unless they pop the frost armor, in which case it's great. It's really
why is it great, Atlas?
There isn't a reason. It's just it's looking a little bit doomed. It is only a 5,000 gold lead at 26 minutes. That is not end of the world, but HLE with full control of the map. I mean, the world is close to the end, but it's not fully doomed, you know? As Delight looking for an angle here as the Glacial Prison somehow misses Doran. He flashes away. That is still Flash now down. Faker able to get some money on the top side by taking out that outer turret I was talking about before. As HLE just looking to get their lanes in order and set up the 1-3-1 so they can continue putting on just ultimate amounts of pressure towards T1.
Bit of an everything gap in this first one. Owner definitely able to do a lot of heavy lifting in the early game, but outside of that, and that's, I think, in no fault to him, was trying as hard as he could to make things happen on the Neferi, but it's really the rest of the lanes, right? Carrier, Smash, both struggling. Faker not having the impact that we've come to expect from him, particularly on the Ahri. And Doran, even with all the attention that was being paid, unable to match ZEUS' impact on one of ZEUS' signature champions, obviously, with the Jace. And now this first game feels like somewhat of a wash here. Now, it is HANWHA Life in Game 1. They have been known to be pretty good at these. They've also been
Game 1ers.
They've also been known Game 2 losers. So we are just following the expected path here, I guess.
And there's also the fact that, I mean, HLE, if they could choose their own champions blind, it would probably be this draft.
Yes. Yes, I think they'd be pretty happy about that.
Maybe Viper would play something else. Maybe it'd be Kai'Sa.
You can nitpick, right? Like, it'd probably be like Kai'Sa, Alistar, or...
No, it would actually just be Kai'Sa. Otherwise, I think it's all of these champions and Kai'Sa.
I think the Light would rather play Alistar.
No, but his Sprell's better. Oh, that's actually not true. His Alistar is amazing.
Well, it's you know, like, what do you like more, a sunset or a starry night? It's no point.
I don't actually have an opinion. I think I like both of them. Very different reasons.
That's the point. Yeah.
That was a very good example of something that people wouldn't actually want to differentiate between them. No. Very nicely done. On the spot. Okay, Smash, Lord Dom's now completed, but I just don't think that it's going to quite be enough. The third item collector from Viper is a choice you could make. Seems odd to build it in that order.
Yeah, I really do believe that at this point in the game, just from base armor, you're going to get more value out of LDR as well.
Yeah, ZEUS might be in trouble, but he flashes absolutely everything. And Ona, he's gone untargetable, seeing whether he can survive. He's burning, but it's not going to quite be enough. But now, oh, never mind. Somehow, it is the MF that picks up the kill, and there goes Faker at the same time. A double now for Viper as Doran. Can he actually be a hero here? I just don't really think there is much of an angle. He's looking to cook. ZEUS does have the equalizer, but it doesn't really land on anyone. Zeka has found Smash as well. As the Valkyrie actually doing a fair bit, but just not enough to keep him alive, as Carrier is under the wrong turret. And so therefore, he is very, very dead. He's going to see whether he can kill some minions and stuff like that. Gets a ward down. But HLE, they're already on the Baron, and this game is over, ladies and gentlemen.
Final attempt, a last-ditch effort from T1 does not work. ZEUS goes up, not enough damage here. Nice flash there from him. Faker, even with Carrier arriving, he's like, I'm going to try and TP out. Doran comes in, but unfortunately, I think they weren't quite ready for everyone on HANWHA Live to be this quick on the response. But also, it was a Hail Mary. I think that this realistically was never a plan where T1 had too much faith. And the fact that they do eventually take down the Jace is nice, but isn't really going to change the game state. Really credit to HANWHA Live. I think their team fighting in this first game looks nigh unmatched, and T1 couldn't quite find, even against Gen G, I think they found a lot more leeway in the early game. We're actually able to snowball really aggressively, and HANWHA Live just didn't let them do that at all.
Nope.
Soul was about to be picked up, and as you point out, this game, the Nexus might not have fallen yet, but we know.
I think the Nexus knows what's coming. You know, the Nexus is not going to be surprised when an HLE are coming knocking on the door. Speaking of knocking on the door, they're going to be able to look towards bottom side of the map. Peanut is going to turn an engage from T1 into an engage of his own as Carrier dives in, but immediately goes to half health. There's the Magnus Storm from Delight as well. And the MF a little bit late on the bullet time there because the target was already destroyed. Now Viper over the wall, waits for the minion wave. They will be able to break the base here as Doran and Smash, yeah, they've got a bit of damage, but there is just no way to stop HLE as they march towards the Nexus turrets now. Equalizer goes down, largely in defense though, as Doran now having to deal with ZEUS, and he's not able to do so even a little bit. Ona dives in because he may as well. And there's the flash forward from Zeka, gets the knock up onto Smash. Permafrost not in range, and it doesn't even need to be because Zeka's there with enough damage. That's a clean ace. That's going to be a clean kill on a couple of these Nexus turrets. And HLE, welcome to the LCK. It's good to see you still in phenomenal form after first stand.
As the Nexus falls to light, as he'll